This week's Parsha is the beginning of the book of Exodus, the beginning of Shemot. This is the master story of the Jewish people. This is the master story of humanity, the story of the enslavement in Egypt, the confrontation with the Pharaoh, the 10 plagues, the leaving of Egypt from slavery to freedom, the story of humanity. This is a story that has captured the imagination of every nation, every people that dreams for freedom, dreams about freedom, and strives for freedom. Now, there are two people in this story. They're my favorite people in the story. They have a very minor role, but we should focus on them for just a moment. The names are Shifra and Puah. Now, I don't think they're the most famous people in the story, but let's focus on them for a moment and why they're so important. You remember at one point, Pharaoh panicking that the Israelite people are growing and growing, becoming too large a nation. He starts to have all this paranoia. They're going to rebel against me. They're going to join with an enemy who's going to come from outside. We call that a fifth column. And they're going to defeat me. So I have to weaken them. How does he weaken them? The irony is he decides I'm going to kill all the males. All the male children that are born I'm going to throw in the Nile, which of course destroys his slave population. So it's irrational, but he was so fearful and so paranoia about this people that he was willing to destroy his own labor force. He tells the midwives that they should take every male child that is born and cast them in the Nile. There are two midwives by the name of Shifra and Puah. Now some commentators say they're Hebrews, Shifra and Puah. I don't understand it. I don't understand the commentary at all, because if Shifra and Puah are Hebrew midwives, then there's no heroism in them saving Jewish children, Jewish male children. It's not a heroic thing for someone who's a member of the tribe to risk their lives to save the child of another member of the tribe. But if they are Egyptian, which I am positive they are, then to disobey Pharaoh in order to save an Israelite child is to put their life at risk for someone who's not a member of the tribe. This is what we later called, after the Holocaust, the righteous Gentiles. The Gentiles who risked their lives to save Jews. And when they were asked why, the answer they always gave is because it's the right thing to do. They sought no reward. They didn't think they were heroes. They're human beings. How can you not help another human being? Shifra and Puah were the first righteous Gentiles. They put their life on the line. Now, why is the story told? Very simple. The Torah wants to tell us that everyone could have been Shifra and Puah. Every Egyptian had the power to resist Pharaoh. His own daughter resists him, right? Who saves the Hebrew? Who saves Moses floating in the basket? Did she not know he was a Hebrew? Of course she did. She defies her own father to save the child. So the story is trying to tell us, the Torah is trying to tell us that the obligation of a citizen, the obligation of a member of a community is to resist unethical and immoral commands, even if it be by Pharaoh himself. This is the Torah's judgment. You live in a society, you can't blame the leader. If the leader is committing an atrocity, you have to resist. You have to bring that leader down. It's actually a call for open rebellion against tyrants. It's a call that many, many nations have heeded. And in fact, every tyrant is eventually brought down, because Shifra and Puah will always stand up at some point in order to save themselves from tyranny, in order to save the innocent victims. I look at today and I wonder, where's the Shifras? Where's the Puahs? Where are the people who stand up? One of the great tragedies now in the world, it goes almost unreported, is the status of the Christian community in parts of the Muslim world. There have been burnings of church, there have been killings, they're being intimidated, they're trying to push them out of the country in certain quarters within the Muslim world. What is a mystery to me is why people have not stood up within that world, as well as outside, in support of the safety of the Christian world in that part of our globe. When Soviet Jewry was struggling for freedom, Jews and Gentiles gathered together here in this country, and they worked hard. They supported the struggle for Soviet Jewry, and they went to Washington, 250,000 strong, to demonstrate in support. And I wonder, why hasn't there been a demonstration in support of the Christian communities that are under such pressure, that have actually suffered from the burnings of churches and the murders of their leaders and some of their members of their congregations, without an outcry? Where's the Shifra and Puah to say, I won't stand for this? There should be 250,000, 500,000, 1 million people gathering in Washington to demand that our country and the European Union and the Western world and the good people in the Muslim world to demand an end to this persecution of Christians in that part of the world. We fought for Soviet Jewry because they were our brethren, but Shifra and Puah fought for us in Egypt, and we were not their brethren. There's not only such thing as righteous Gentiles who fight to help save Jews, there has to be righteous Jews who help to fight to save Gentiles. I think that's the message of Shifra and Puah. It's not only a call to the righteous Gentiles, it's a call to us to remember that we have to step up, go forward, and do what Shifra and Puah did, and that is defend the innocent who are suffering at the hand of tyrants. Perhaps we will see in this coming year a tremendous push to help save the Christian communities in those parts of the Muslim world where their churches, their existence, their very lives are in danger. That's the call to action that is the story of the book of Exodus, Parashat Shemot, which we read in the Torah this week. Shabbat Shalom.